This is the Talk CNY Economic Champions Miniseries presented by NBT Bank, a podcast by CenterState CEO, Central New York's premier leadership and economic development organization. This series will shine a light on local businesses making an impact in our community and driving our regional economy forward. Whether it's new jobs, company milestones, business expansions, investments in operations, or DEI initiatives, join us as we celebrate CNY's economic champions. Today's conversation is with Eli Smith, founder and managing director of E. Smith Contractors, an award-winning local builder with national reach. Their comprehensive commercial construction services give its clients the freedom to work with one construction company and skip the aggravation of dealing with multiple contractors. Eli has a passion for creating and scaling ventures that make a positive difference in the world. He is a 10,000K Goldman Sachs alumnus and has received multiple honors, including the New York State Minority Business of the Year and Harriet Tubman National Freedom Award. Eli enjoys working with diverse and talented teams and values collaboration, innovation, and social responsibility. Eli, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. So first, let's learn more about you, and then we'll hear all about your amazing three organizations. So you are a native to Central New York?
Yes, born in the 607, the Southern Tier, Elmira, New York. My parents, we moved to Auburn, New York when I was 6 years old. I graduated from Auburn High School, and then most of my adult life I spent in Syracuse, New York. Syracuse has been great to myself and my family, and love the people and the community, and see so many. It's so bright, the future we have here in 2024 and where we're going and compared to where we're at. So I'm excited about where we're headed as an organization, but also most importantly as a community.
Awesome. That's so wonderful to hear, and so amazing that you decided to really keep your roots here. So of all these companies, SGTR was the first, right?
Correct. So originally SGTR was formed back in 2011. It was originally called So Gone Trash Removal. Funny about that, how it got started in its roots was back in 2008, 2009, when the country went through an economic downturn. I was working for my parents' company. As we all know, the housing crisis happened at that time. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I said, let me start my own business. And I remember at that time I was watching the Oprah Winfrey Show. And she had on there the gentleman that owned the company called Got Junk. And I remember he was saying that his company, he started with a pickup truck, and at that time he was in 3 different countries and doing about $185 million a year. Very simplistic. That interview was just, so I woke up the next day and I was like, you know what? If he could do it, I could do it. So I went down to the city courthouse, got my DBA, named that first business that I owned, So Gone Trash Removal, and I patterned that company right after Got Junk. We worked for property management companies. We worked for landlords. We worked with residential, and a lot of residential clients that we had at that time, just cleaning out attics and basements and whatever they needed to have removed. Profit margins were good, right? And so if you could think about it, back in 2011, we were charging $200 to $400 per pickup load, right? But our profit margin at that time was literally about 30 to 45%, so it was good. At that time, we went through Angie's List and marketed through another organization at that time, a national organization called Home Advisor, which sent us leads. A year after that, I received my first demolition contract. Someone called and said, "Hey, can you tear down a trailer in my yard and take it to the scrap yard?" And I knew about construction because I was in my parents' company for many years. So if you know how to build it, you know how to tear it down, right? That's the saying. So I went there, and then from there we received our first city of Syracuse, met Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens at the time. She helped me get certified with the city of Syracuse and started building those relationships. And from there, that's how SGTR was built. But at its core, it was always, and to this day, community focused. We hire from within our community, and that's one of the things that we're most proud of is the people that we work with here and the relationships that we have, because that's where we started, was right here in Central New York.
Oh, that is amazing. I love that. And so there's a theme there that I'm catching. You started this organization. You said you worked for your parents' company at one point in time.
Correct.
So it sounds like entrepreneurship has been with you from the beginning.
Yeah, so research shows that 80% of entrepreneurs either come from a family that had entrepreneurs in their family or their extended family, whether it be a cousin, aunt, uncle. So I learned from my father and my mother. My father was a ninth grade high school dropout. So I learned, but he used to take me to board meetings, right? He used to take me when he would go to meet with different clients. So I learned through his passion and through how he even negotiated his own contracts, right? And he taught me the value of understanding my overhead, right? General conditions, those kinds of things. So that when I started my own business, I understood what I needed to make sure that I made for my profit margin on each transaction or each proposal that we sent out. So that's where, at our core, where we started from, or how I became an entrepreneur myself.
Very cool. And so what happened first? Did this company expand, or did you come up with a new idea for an additional company? What happened?
So in 2014, Sogon Trash Mart, I kept getting calls, well, you guys have dumpsters. Can you guys come pick up this trash? And we had no dumpsters, right? So I was like, I know.
That's very interesting. Yes. I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah,
okay.
So we had no dumpsters. The cost for doing that, I started this from grassroots, right? So I had a few $100s in my pocket when I started the business. And so I had to keep my expenses low. So in 2014, speaking with, other people and, who became mentors of mine, they said, Eli, your company is branded wrong. You have the wrong name. Change your name from Sogon Trash Removal, because that's all people think is you just do trash removal. And at that time, we had carpenters that worked for us. We had laborers that were, doing the selective demolition at that time. And we were also getting into the GC field. So at that time, we changed to SGTR, right? And so SGTR has certain certifications that my other company that I also started in 2014, which is E. Smith Contractors, does not have. So SGTR today is an 8A contractor. We work for Fort Drum, for the Navy Shipyard in Kittery, Maine, and we primarily work for the Department of Defense and the Army Corps and GSA, whereas E. Smith Contractors does everything else. So E. Smith Contractors is a construction management firm, also a general contractor, but they specialize in going after the healthcare clients or for working for different educational field clients, such as Syracuse University, U of R, even down in Washington, D.C., we work for different HBCUs. So we understood, and each company goes and targets those clients within what they feel that they should target and go after.
Which makes a lot of sense, because they need to know, is this the right fit? And if you are clear on that language, then they'll know, you're for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm most proud of is we just don't talk the talk, we walk the walk. And by that, I mean, when we talk about we hire within the community, we truly do. So a lot of our project managers or foremen to this day may have started as a laborer, right? But because they were second time or third time felon and they need a job when they got out of the prison system for things that they may have did 20 years ago that today is now legal, right? So some of the guys that work for me sold marijuana, right? And hardworking guys, but just needed an opportunity. So we were able to afford them with an opportunity. They came to work for us, learned construction, went up through the ranks, right? And now have became leaders within SGTR and E. Smith Contractors. We have people, and this is another thing I'm proud of, is we call ourselves the United Nations of Construction, right? Because we have people that work for us from Afghanistan, from China, from Cuba. So we truly hire people who are in the community, understand construction, but truly want to give back to the communities in which they live. So, and we do that no matter where we are. We have offices today in Kittery, Maine, Charlotte, North Carolina, Houston, Texas, and Dallas. We just opened Houston 3 months ago. And so all those offices are thriving, and we're excited about our growth potential across the East Coast and the South.
That's very exciting. Eli, it sounds like you're very passionate about not just how you lead and your value of community, but also helping to raise that up within the individuals that work for you and to really cultivate that as a heart of your company. And it sounds like, from what I understand about my Dream Summit, that you are helping to do that in another way with that organization too. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that I know for a fact someone had to teach me, right? And open up doors for myself. I'm nothing special, right? So when I was afforded to be allowed into certain rooms or to be around certain people, I felt like those same opportunities I had to give back. And one of the things I was hearing, not just here locally in Syracuse, but in central New York as a whole, in the Black and brown community, the lack of opportunity, the lack of access for knowledge, right? And not just in construction, but just in creating wealth, right, amongst our communities. So I said, it started from just having a company party where we were, basically appreciate those employees that had done well for us 5 or 6 years ago. From there, it grew into, let's invite this guest or invite someone special to come be our guest speaker. And then, so it started organically, and people said we should start doing this on a bigger level. So on 2020, after COVID, we started My Dream Summit with the help of many different community members, from Michelle Rollins to Java, who's also a co-founder, to, I can't even say all the people, to even our county executive, Ryan McMahon, to CenterState, right? All those different organizations or people wanted to see Syracuse rise. And so I brought in executives because I had relationships with executives from McDonald's or from Micron, who was our power presenter last year, who we had Sanjay came and speak, who's the CEO. But I brought in different people to speak about DEI or about procurement or about life after being incarcerated. We also had a breakout session for veterans, right, to talk about veterans and their reintroduction back into the workforce. And we had people like Chris Dombeck, who is a locally owned, veteran-owned company here that's doing amazing things, has a site and civil contractor, to talk about how his experience coming from being in the military to being one of the top professionals and businesses here, how he has had impact. So it's just a 2-day conference where we highlight different businesses and give away awards. And then the second day, we have a gala, which everyone is invited to. And we had it, so we enjoy it. And this year we're taking a year off as we look to hire an executive director, because it's hard to run multiple different businesses and run a nonprofit, right?
Yes.
So we're actually interviewing right now for executive director for My Dream Summit. So if you know anybody out there that wants to be an ED, please send them our way.
That's very exciting. And what a cool opportunity. So anyone who wants to get involved and can get a ticket, is that possible? Is it open to the public? Yeah.
It's open to the public. And anyone that just wants, whether you want to get involved in real estate or get involved as becoming an entrepreneur. We have breakout sessions on that. We had a mental health breakout session that we had professionals speak on mental health, because we know coming out of COVID, everybody was isolated. And
Goodness, yes.
Yeah, so we just want all of the community to rise up, right? As the saying goes, when the tide comes in, all ships must rise.
Yes.
So that's what My Dream Summit is truly all about.
Wonderful. That sounds like an awesome opportunity. In addition to that new hire, can you tell us about what's happening throughout these organizations? Are there other big hires that you're planning for? Any big company milestones?
Yeah, so milestone was this year, we received from CenterState and UMEA the latest award, which was the Minority Business of the Year for Central New York. So this is a team award. We're so excited for that. But because of that, we're able to, we're scaling as a company, right? We're always hiring. We're always looking to make our team better. Especially now, we just received from Micron, we were awarded the general contractor for their first office here in Syracuse, which is going to be on Fayette. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a design build. We're partnering with a architectural firm here locally called In Architects. We're hiring superintendents. We need another chief estimator at this time. We're looking for a chief operating officer as well. So as we continue to scale, we need to continue to bring on key members so that we keep the momentum going. We're not going to take the foot off the accelerator, because we're a company of disruptors, right? We want to disrupt the marketplace. We want to make an impact, and that's what we're doing.
Very exciting. Now, if someone has an interest in one of these potential positions, what's the best way to get in touch, or where could they find more information?
Sure. They could email me. My email is Eli at esmithcontractors.com or Eli at sgtrllc.com. But that's the easiest way to get to apply for the position.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm sure your email will be blowing up then. Those are some really exciting titles. Okay, very cool. And could you tell us more specifically about where this location is on Fayette? Can we get some details?
It's actually right across the street from where we're sitting right now. It's going to be on the Chase building.
Oh, very cool.
Right across the street. So right on West Fayette. And it's the 8th floor. And they also taken over the first floor, which is going to be their lobby where you first walk in. You'll be greeted from Micron folks. But they're taking the entire 8th floor. So it's exciting. What Micron is going to do here is going to make sure that not just a certain group of people profit or benefit, but I expect to see women-owned businesses, Black and brown businesses, and all kinds of ancillary businesses that come into our region. They will all benefit because of Micron. So we're excited.
It is exciting. And let's talk a little bit more about that excitement and the momentum that's been building. I'd love to hear from you personally. Where are you at? Like, how has this been going for you? What is your envisioning of what our future looks like in Central New York?
Yeah, so Syracuse has been up and down, right? It hasn't always been as a rosy picture here, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen multiple companies leave, from GM to Chrysler to New Process Gear, Carrier, the list goes on and on, right? So for the last 20 years, it's really been a struggle to bring new businesses in, bring in new development. And with that, when that doesn't happen, the money doesn't get spread around, right? The same companies, the same organizations get the money, right? Mm-hmm. And then the same people that have been starving are still starving, right? Or looking for a hand to be, not a hand, a handout, but a hand to say, hey, we want to bring you with us as we go. Yeah. So I hear the community. I've seen the tears. I've seen the pain. I live in the community. My employees live in the community. So now that Micron is doing what they're doing, and hopefully they will teach other businesses and other private organizations to spread the wealth, right? And to spend their money in all of our communities, right? Syracuse has been, unfortunately, number one in poverty for the last 6 or 7 years, right? And there's been a lot of despair in some communities on the South Side, to speak of, where I think here locally. But now those communities are rising up. So when you drive down on the South Side, you see houses that are being redeveloped. I drive down there, I see more businesses. I see businesses such as Yolanda Johnson, who owns Cocoa Candles, right? Who's doing amazing things. I see SSIC on the South Side Innovation Center. That place is packed with new businesses, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So more and more businesses are popping up every day, but we need to keep the momentum going, right? We need to continue to be disruptors and say, we're not going to allow this anymore, and we want to be a part of the success.
Let me ask you about, when you say disruptors, what you imagine, and if you were to tell someone listening what they could do to be active in that. Like, how can you go out and be a disruptor tomorrow?
I think it's different, right, for each person. Each person has to find their own voice, and I know that's kind of cliche, right? I mean, everybody says that, like, find your own voice. Well, like, what does that mean, right? You could be a disruptor by even partnering with another company that may be bigger than where you are today, and just saying, hey, I want to be able to go and chase a bigger opportunity, right? So if your company is normally doing 5 figures or 6-figure type jobs, and you want to get towards your first 7-figure job, you may not be ready today to do that. But if you partner with a company, that's a form of disruption, because now you're going into a new marketplace. And with that, you're going to bring your culture, your team's character onto that job site. So I think that as a whole, being a disruptor is different for each individual, right? Some people will be loud and be kicking and screaming or pounding the table. That doesn't work for me, right? But then other people will be like, let me show you why this is important, and have more of a teacher type way to disrupt, right? And show what their experience has been, right? Yeah. And so you have to pull on the person's emotional heartstring to say, listen, I just want to be at the table when these decisions are made.
I love that you're explaining this, because I think a lot of times when we hear a great podcast and we hear something inspirational, we have that excitement and that joy, and we're like, yeah, I want to go do something. Right. Something has sparked an idea intellectually, or we're feeling something in our heart, but then we're like, but how? Mm-hmm. And what's that actual next step? Mm-hmm. And so this idea of figuring out what being a disruptor means to you as an individual is a tangible, finite, specific next step that you are offering to the listener today. Like, what does that mean to you? And it can mean a lot of different things. It's not 100%. A personality type. It's a choice.
Early on in my career, I worked for Chrysler, right?
Okay,
and so we helped assemble cars, and everybody knows. So I worked in the manufacturing side. Mm-hmm. So no one will say, well, I put the muffler on the car, and you only put on the door handle, right? They're both important, right? Mm-hmm. But however that car is assembled, everybody has their function, right? Same thing with being a disruptor, right? Like, so some people feel like in order for me to be a disruptor, I need to be loud. I need to be in your face. Well, that's their style. Allow them to be that. That's their style. And other people feel more comfortable working from the back to the front and saying, listen, I'm going to explain why the way you have been doing things has not been impactful to myself or to my family, and I need you to change. And that's a way of disrupting, right? By just sitting down and explaining. So, everyone is important. Every voice needs to be heard. And I believe that we just have to come together as a community and make it so everybody rises up.
Absolutely. Eli, this has been such a fun conversation. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you better, getting to hear more about your businesses, and also to just hear about your excitement about where we're going with this community. So thanks for the time.
Thank you. I had a great time.
If someone is listening and would like to get connected with you, could they find you on LinkedIn?
Yes. Yeah. My name, Eli Smith. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not on any other social media outlets, but feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Talk CNY Economic Champions mini-series presented by NBT Bank. Episodes of this CenterState CEO podcast are available on clickcny.com and all major podcast platforms. After each episode, you can join us on Click, where we'll continue to talk about this topic and provide additional resources and links. In Click, you can listen to or watch every episode of Talk CNY. Click is CenterState CEO's digital chamber platform where our members connect, learn, and receive support from our staff. For new episode reminders, be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast listening app. If you're enjoying our series, consider leaving a quick review or a 5-star rating.
I would recommend NBT Bank to any business. My name is Chris Palomino, and I'm the president of Atlas Fence.
Chris had decided to purchase Atlas Fence from the previous owner. He had previous connections at NBT Bank.
NBT Bank provided me equipment financing, doubling our entire production workforce. It's important to me as a business owner that the decisions of our banking relationship are made locally.